Welcome to Friday. It's December 9th.
Yeah.
We're all ready for Friday. We're ready for a great Saturday. We're talking about charging across the U.S., experience in the front, and Lucid's phone calls. Lucid's phone calls. I gave it away.
Lucids, not lucid. We want everyone to be lucid when they're making phone calls. But
I said S. Or lucid phone calls. So they're probably pretty lucid. We'll talk about it in a second. It's Friday, Kyle. Today just feels like it flew by. We both had travel. We were both on the ground, respectively, in Atlanta. And you in Atlanta? Where were you?
No, I was just in Nashville.
Oh, and
I got to be in a dealership in Nashville. It was fabulous.
To me, it felt like you were traveling because you weren't here on the screen.
My office. There you go.
We had on the ground in dealerships in Nashville and with a bunch of fixed ops people in Princeton, and we're going to be with a bunch of dealers next week too.
Yeah,
we got it. You got Atlanta, and then the following week, actually, we have dealers coming to Nashville for the year-end extravaganza.
Coming to my hometown. It's gonna be so good.
Man,
yesterday, just like a little bit of note: if you are not signed up, ready for the year-end extravaganza, I promise you, we are gonna throw things in there that you just are not gonna expect, and it's gonna be wonderful, joyous time. Like of dialed in practitionership, understanding what the moves and the market moves last year, next year, where we're headed, but also like we're going to give a little bit of breath of fresh air to your week before Christmas.
Yeah, we got a bunch of people coming in live to be on the show. It's going to be a Jimmy Fallon style live show. Kyle and I are going to be wearing suits. So if anything, you show up for that. You can go to asodu.com, scroll down just a tad from the top of the fold, and you can click on the year-end extravaganza links. You can join the LinkedIn event or the Facebook event, get access to the live stream, be eligible to win prizes. First of all, foremost, we got a PS5, we got an iPad, we might have a couple of other things we're doing. And so make sure if you can't be there in person, because we are having a small live studio audience. So if you really want to come, send us a DM. Maybe we can work that out
from some places. So,
from some places. That's very ambiguous.
Yeah. So, hey, some places you wouldn't expect it. So,
probably
fly on in. The flights aren't that expensive in Nashville, and we'll treat you to some Nashville coffee and pastries and all that.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. No, it's gonna be a great time. And if not, hey, join us on the live stream. You will not be sorry. Let's just say it that way. Taking a big swing. Our show producer actually produces the Emmys in New York Fashion Week and the People's Choice Awards that just happened this week. We got the AV and the live band from Electric Jane. It's going to be ridiculous. Okay, let's talk about a little bit news. Oh, wait, do we have anything else to talk about before we bounce into the
I think we're good. Go to the news. We're going
to go to the news. We have some fun stuff, especially a little last story packs a little bit of a different type of punch. So GM and Ford dealers are doing the work to build a formidable charging infrastructure across the U.S. as Ford and GM just really take the front seat in the effort. So on the Ford side, the much contested and debated Ford EV dealer certification requirements, it's actually going to result in about 1,900 plus chargers, level 3 chargers across, which will now make it the most extensive network of those types of chargers in the U.S. When it comes to number of locations. All of a sudden, I didn't even think about that. Like all of a sudden, imagine all the Ford stores popping up on the charging network. Now, I know it's probably not going to be the most convenient thing to do to go to a Ford dealership.
It's like big charging network, not where people just go to stop. Now, if you're like also largest coffee shop network.
Right? I mean, I knew you were going to go there.
Line that up,
I knew you were going to go there. But you think about like range anxiety in general and the fact that because level 3 chargers, right? You're in 20 minutes. You're back.
Yeah,
so
at
even
least it's available, right?
Exactly.
And actually, Ford dealerships are in pretty rural areas a lot of times, and you see them when I'm driving through even Tennessee or Kentucky, where I drive through a lot, you see them like 40 minutes outside of major cities and an hour outside of major cities, right off the highway. So it's still not like absolutely inconvenient when you think about where a lot of those Ford dealerships are located in travel spots.
And if you need to charge, man, even 10 minutes in there to get you to the place you really want to go.
Yep.
That doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. So I mean, this throws them in the mix with Tesla, EVgo, Electrify America. Now there's probably going to be a little Ford logo up on whatever charging maps they have going on. GM is taking a slightly different approach. Obviously, more GM stores. There's a GM store, what they say, within like 9 miles of every home in America, something like that.
Yep.
GM is working with its dealers to provide a really robust charging network of what's like 40,000 level 2 chargers. So level 2 chargers a little bit different than level 1. They don't go, or level 3, they don't go as fast, but they're still pretty substantial. They can charge your car in a couple of hours, which make them perfect for like parks and sports venues and shopping malls, places where you're going to spend a couple of hours. And we're talking 40,000. And if that happens, double the amount of this level chargers across the country. I actually have a level 2 charger that we put up right outside out front of my office building for the community. And
I mean, it's just going to have to be something that pops up everywhere. Every parking lot is just going to have 5 or 6 of them to start, and probably more. It's just going to be a bank of chargers.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be something that every business. But here's the thing. I mean, if I'm dealers, I'm getting that ad space super cheap right now.
All day. Right. It's ad space. You see them like in upstate New York. We're just starting to see them. You've probably had them a lot more in Nashville, but in shopping centers and plazas and grocery stores, these big, beautiful level 3 chargers showing up with display screens on them, and they're running ads. And hey, if you're Ford and you own the screen, it's like, what are you going to talk about? What are you talking about? All the great things that Ford dealers are doing in the community around you. That's not good. That's not going to be what goes on there, by the way.
No,
it's going to end up being price and payment. You know that,
without a doubt. It's totally price and payment. $3.99 leases all day.
Not if we have anything to say about it. Okay. What else? Oh yes, this. So today we're really focusing on kind of like what the dealer OEMs are doing in partnership with the dealers. We didn't give the overarching topic. Chargers are the first thing. The second thing, it's just developing and leaning into experience when people are shopping for the brand.
This story, let me just start by this. This one warms my heart. These couple little stories about how retailing experiences are coming to the dealer network just warms my heart. So
I know. So Kyle and I in the mornings, a lot of times we're swapping stories on text message like before, and then the show gets built, and Kyle popped over these 2 articles, and I was like, I see what you're doing here. I see what you're doing here. So several new standalone dealerships are opening for Porsche and Jeep, not together, separately, which strive to provide dedicated spaces for convenience, robust shopping experiences, and even walkability. Kind of ironic, walkability to a car dealership. Porsche of Brooklyn highlights a new Porsche urban store concept. It's a street level gallery, right, and has intentionally timeless styling. The building looks amazing. You have to check it out in the show notes.
Have you like walked through Brooklyn?
Not ever? Not in a long time. Yeah, I have. The last time I was there, I was visiting VaynerMedia's building, but it was just like warehouses, like, you know what I mean? It was like the very beginning of the last 5 years of upswing.
Well, and Brooklyn was a lot different than like New York, like downtown New York City.
Oh, yes.
And like all the brownstones, all the walkability, you see families walking around. Yeah. And so for a retail environment for an automaker, and it's a pretty well off area for an automaker to be in that same type of look and feel. I mean, it for me, it is exactly what any automaker should be thinking in urban areas. I mean, right now, I'm saying this, like in downtown Nashville, there are storefronts going up everywhere. And it's interesting to me that in a lot of other countries, you see these like storefront style manufacturer like buildings, right? Where they're not dealerships, their inventory is in a storage facility or something like that, but they are dedicated to the shopping experience. And this store, when you click in through it, make sure and take a look at a few of the pictures. There's not a ton of pictures. We'll see if we can find some more later for a social post, but it has kind of a cafe feel. There's this fitting room for customizing your new Porsche, which is so smart. A lifestyle store, so thinking accessories or even like wearables. And then even a new car delivery area, and understanding that, hey, orders are happening, or a delivery experience is the highest part of maybe a car ownership experience.
And that's what you want everybody else to see too.
Smart. Yep.
Right. It's like that whole thing where you see other people doing it. Look at that guy taking delivery of his Porsche. Exactly. Look at that. Even, gosh, Do families buy Porsches? I don't. Well, maybe, I guess if you get.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
Especially in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Right. The building also houses the training facility for the Brooklyn Nets. So I think that's like, it's just the big point of this, right? Everyone can't have a super high end, whatever, right? Like that's Porsche's brand. They're in the right neighborhood. I think the real point is contextualization for the people who are shopping in your places in the neighborhood that you're putting things in. And the urban walkability in an environment where there's really no inventory anyway, or we're getting used to this. People are just maybe getting used to shopping this way. Experiential. There's another one kind of on the flip side of the world, not of the world, but of the OEM world anyway. Christian Munier, Jeep brand CEO, Jay Feldman of Feldman Automotive, who you might know. Feldman, they're the ones that have Mark Wahlberg, right? He's the partner with Mark Wahlberg.
Well, in some of the stores, they have a Feldman Wahlberg stores.
Right. Yep. Jim Morrison, head of the Jeep brand. His name's Jim Morrison. It's pretty good. North America. They gathered in a photo in the new standalone Feldman Jeep of Clarkson. According to owner Jay Feldman, this freestanding Jeep store captures the heritage and imagination of the Jeep brand and its enthusiasts. And he says, we're paving a way for the next generation of Jeep owners. They built an experience center that is inherently Jeep. It has only Jeep technicians in it. And it's something we'll find more
these
pictures
are going to be like
well.
Jeep meccas. I'm telling you, I know a couple other groups that are putting these up. They're just in building phase. This is just the first one of them. But typically what you see is you see a CDJR store and you see kind of like the Chrysler Dodge Ram side of the store. It's kind of silver and gray. And then you see the Jeep side of the store. And that's where you get the brown and the earth tones and that type of thing. But it's all baked into one. And I think Jeep owners are going to love this experience. I'm sure like the exterior, you've probably got things like, sideways hills and rocks and things to climb over with Jeeps. And then the inside is definitely an experiential type store. But this, for me, this is a long time coming. The Jeep brand, we talked about this, I think last week, in that Jeeps retain their value so long because the community around Jeeps, I mean, think about what you could do with community events or, with your technicians explaining things about the Jeep, doing some like dinners and things like that.
How about the kids?
Yeah.
Right.
The kids. Yes. Without
How are you not going to kids love to run over stuff and break stuff. Give them the opportunity to do that.
And Jeep makes the little the little kid cars too.
Absolutely.
Right?
A little kid track.
Done.
Oh man. My little Jaden would tear that up.
With
give an idea to move things around and pull things and hook up.
Think about creating customer loyalty, creating customers for life, owning the whole family and their experience with Jeep. I mean, it is, for me, that's where Jeep is absolutely going to win. But I think that other manufacturers can kind of take this and go, okay, if Jeep can do that and they're putting their store together like this, what do our stores look like, not just visibly, but experientially different than other OEMs that people actually want to be a part of?
Well, speaking of a different type of experience.
Stop. Segue.
Time. This one caught us both a little sideways. Amidst pressure from customers who are tired of waiting for their new Lucid Motors EV, leaked emails obtained by Business Insider outlines some, I'm going to call them red zone defensive measures. And if you're not familiar with that, when you're in football, when you're about the other team's about to score, it's called the red zone. And they've released some red zone measures, I'll call them, that can lead to customers being called 14 times over weeks to stop from canceling their order. So here's Lucid is having trouble delivering. Here Lucid's having trouble delivering, right? They're trying to keep up. They're trying to deliver. People are tired of waiting, so customers are starting to call to cancel. So this email says basically every cancellation is a failure. So here's how it goes. When a customer calls to cancel, they're assigned to a case owner who has to call the customer within 24 hours. And then again, for 3 consecutive days to save the order. If that doesn't work and they don't get through, it's escalated to a manager who calls 5 more times within 5 days. If that doesn't work, then a regional manager gets it and they call 3 more times over 3 days. Then and only then can the order be canceled. They said their employees cannot take any days off between December 17th and 31. I guess they're expecting when people are kind of off for the holidays.
Is when they're just going to
end of the year, let me button up this loose end.
You think about the type of advertising that retail dealers do during that time to acquire real business right now for in-stock inventory. That's what they're competing against. They're competing against real retail dollars.
Man, and it's just the one employee says, you know, the level of desperation and the tone of the email, combined with the protocol of like just calling people over and over and over, does not spell high end luxury. I mean, we're talking about $100,000 vehicles here, and future purchases. Like, then there are going to be a lot of other options, right? So talk about alienating people. I understand, like, you're desperate, you're trying to do things, but you never want to seem desperate.
There's another way to emphasize that communication, keep people in the family, make them feel good about their purchase.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it's like, it just reeks to me of like that desperate relationship when someone's like, hey, I think this isn't working out. And then the other person just starts calling and texting. Well, the calling thing is what gets me. Like, ain't nobody get me on the phone.
Not a chance, especially with the weird number around the holidays. Ain't happening on the mute button.
How many calls do you get a day from a number you don't recognize?
7 to 10. It's not terrible, but
I love how 7 to 10 isn't that terrible. So but either way, it's like, I don't even look. I don't even, unless I'm expecting a call. Like John Foley just chimes in and says, a friend recently shared their experience canceling their order. It wasn't great. Look, unless it's not something I'm expecting, like, who wants a phone call? Nobody wants a phone call. My kids actually think it's rude to call someone without texting first.
That's what I tell people. I'm like, text me first, then call me, so I know that I'm answering the right person.
Sure, I don't think it's rude if you call me, right? Like, if we're friends and you call me, but even like with their friends, like that they know, like, hey, we talked. You're like, I'm gonna text you first.
For me, this just, it reeks of like bad internet follow-up lead handling procedures that shows that you have done nothing to care for this customer in their purchase life cycle, which is not over until they take delivery. And that's they missed the boat months ago, not right now.
That's a great point. Well, on that date, we're not missing the boat today. It's a Friday, rolling into a good solid weekend. People are out, they're spending money, they're buying cars, they're getting things fixed. Get there in the mix and meet them right where they're